Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Boykin, and I'm here in beautiful Boulder Creek, California, where the flannel shirt is our state flag, the pit bull is our state bird, and cannabis is our state flower. Um, it's been a crazy fucking week. And I have about an hour before I am supposed to go on Niall Rorkam's show, and I'm going to talk to him in detail about um, the Jeffrey Epstein case as I see it and what I've learned. So that should be fun, and he should be releasing that tomorrow. Uh, in the meantime, hello, Karen. Um, I but before I get into the thing with Amazon, um, I went to this wedding yesterday. It was very, 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 very long. I'm gonna try not to hit the desk and shake the camera for the rest of the fucking show, I promise. Um, it was a total fucking 1%er wedding. It was in uh, like Napa on a winery. Fucking uh, dude, it sucked. I had to wear a tux. It was bad. But what was also bad was like even the toasts to the bride and the groom were based in these like class-based smears. It was really fucking weird. It was weird to sit through. It was weird to hear the father of the bride like kind of discuss or bemoan the cost of the wedding in a toast. Like I don't know if rich fucks do this on the regular or not. I don't usually go to fucking black tie gigs. I don't ever go to black tie gigs. I had to no open flame smoking of any kind. Um, of any kind. Um, so I had to take a bunch of like cannabis caramels. Good food, but it was really tiny. Like I guess the way you could tell that it's rich people food is that they give you small portions. Otherwise, how would you know? Um, I had a very delightful salad that that had pesto sauce. Anyway, man, um, what what I wanted to really kind of focus on um, is that we, for a lot of very, very good reasons, the Washington Post has been in the news and on people's minds because of the way that they just ritualistically smear Bernie Sanders as a presidential candidate, as a human being, as any and every way that they could. And Jeff Bezos, of course, owns the Washington Post. Um, and while it's important to remember that Jeff Bezos is the owner of the Washington Post and a Lex Luthor motherfucker, and the richest man in existence, and just an absolute union busting garbage human being. It's fun also and important also to remember that he owns Whole Foods, that he owns Amazon, that he owns IMDb, that Whole Foods workers just sent a demand letter to Amazon, to Jeff Bezos as well. And in the demand letter, they are well, it's a demand letter. They're demanding things. Jesus Christ. They're demanding that Amazon cut ties with Palantir, the software company that provides tools to ICE. Amazon went up and butted heads with Palantir competing for this ability. Amazon has a software called Recognition that they wanted ICE and other law enforcement agencies to use. Part of this software is in their Ring doorbell security program, that they also recently got in trouble for trying to market to law enforcement. Amazon has been um, pushing, basically either leading the game or in second place trying to scoop all of surveillance capitalism. Palantir is one of their competitors slash partners in this thing. Amazon, I'm sure you guys remember, and Jeff Bezos got the $600 million deal with the CIA, to build their cloud storage network, host their cloud storage network. This correlates to that. What we're seeing is an expansion of, well, the almighty reach of Jeff Bezos, but we're seeing him working with an organization like Palantir, which is ran by Peter Thiel. He was one of Facebook creators. He's one of Donald Trump's biggest backers. Barrett Brown went to town and constantly goes to town on these guys. If you're not familiar with Barrett Brown, he's a computer hacker. He was linked to Anonymous, or self-linked to Anonymous. He ended up doing some prison time over it. But at any rate, here's what police can do with this program. They can click on an individual in a chart within Gotham. This is the software that's a spatial recognition software that sees everybody. And they can see every personal detail about a target and those around them, from email addresses to bank account information, license information, social media profiles, and all that kind of shit. The technology is being allowed to be deployed by Fusion Center, Fusion Center designated police, and not just at the NSA. So what that means is they've expanded the market in which they can get was that before? I'm sorry. Amazon is expanding their market share, and sociopathic billionaires going up to provide ICE, essentially the fucking, the new SS, new whatever, the new fucking Papers, Please people. We've got two rival sociopathic billionaire fucking tech mogul giants going up against each other to provide the best, quickest, most invasive surveillance tools on the planet, so that people who are deemed undesirable by the government, or even a section of the government, can then be rounded up and done fucking who knows what with. Given back to their country of origin so they can die in a drug war that we started and that we promoted. We live in a fucking cartoon. I can't stress the importance of how, like, many different ways it's necessary to call Amazon to account for what for how they run their fucking model. Have you guys, I don't know if you guys are on Twitter or not. If you are, it's maybe possible you've run into one of the Amazon FC ambassador accounts that if there's a large amount of criticism or a sudden worker strike against any one of an Amazon facility or an Amazon subsidiary, these FC ambassadors pop up. I don't even know what FC means, but there was a Twitter thread that busted the FC accounts as being composite, not real, made of fucking whole cloth people. Amazon is basically going to like this person does not exist.com, but doing the same inside their own facility to create um, realistic looking bot profiles that toughed it out for the first year at Amazon and now have experienced all of the great things that Amazon has to offer. They go on, like, these things will tell you that their depression was just all in their head and they were looking at their fucking life at Amazon wrong, and now they make a game out of fucking, not taking bathroom breaks and working 12-hour shifts. Like serious bootlicker fucking just beyond Stockholm syndrome shit. It is, if Amazon, the company, is willing to create an entire like bot army of composite, this person doesn't exist, fucking, I don't know, the digital fucking paper men, if that's what it is, and they're willing to do that to simply promote bad business practices, what the fuck do you think they're doing in closed door meetings? What do you think Jeff Bezos is doing with the CIA's cloud storage? What do you think ICE is doing with the same fucking because that's what this is all about, man. This is all about Amazon and Jeff Bezos having the ability to host all of this data. Does that mean that Jeff Bezos has access to all of this data? Fucking probably. I don't see why he wouldn't. I really don't. If you were going into the business with the CIA and it was to store all of their data, and you were, I don't know, of the caliber of evil that Jeff Bezos is, would you not want access to that exact same information? Isn't that something that would be like at the forefront of your thought process? It's not like these guys didn't sit around and read Vault 7. They did. When WikiLeaks released Vault 7 and it went into detail about how the CIA has better hacking capabilities, better tools, better access, better storage, better, more room to work, they're talking about in large their partnership with Jeff Bezos and Amazon. And I think somebody in the chat, Scott Johnson, bought the post with CIA cloud money. He paid half of what he made by going and doing that deal with the CIA. He paid about 300 billion. 300 million for the Washington Post. He didn't pay a whole lot for it. I just read that very, very recently. I will eventually do a deep dive on Palantir. I will. I'm putting that together. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, Palantir is doing almost all of the software for the other agencies that Amazon doesn't get to. It's fucking, yes, yes. It's not a claim. It's a published, CIA internal document that says they can hack smart TVs. I mean, we knew this back in 2014 when Samsung had to recall a batch of smart TVs because somebody was like, hey, we're sitting here at the shop and we can hear everything that is going on. And it was built into that particular Samsung product. The vault. So Vault 7 doesn't there's no claim. These are just leaked documents from the CIA that describe their technical capabilities. I you know, it's not like there's a journalist that's telling you a story when it comes to interpreting what the data says. You know, you read the cable, you read the memo, you read the email, and when they discuss these programs and they're discussed in these terms, they're discussed internally. And I don't. There's no postulating is what I'm getting at. When they're discussed, it's not, well, what if they could? Rather, they do, and they do because we wrote the code for it. That's so I guess my point is they're revelations as opposed to claims because it's information revealed rather than information that is speculated upon, or something to be speculated. I don't know. Maybe hopefully that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's possible. I wanted to kind of jump from that because again, it's been a nutty week. A lot of shit went down. I think the last video I did was about well, I think it was about Epstein, but about how people were covering Epstein too. And I watched some of Graham Elwood's live stream this afternoon. Graham is a great content creator. He's fucking awesome. He's wearing an Action for Assange wristband, which is I co-host the Free Assange Vigil series now every Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern U.S. time, 7 Pacific. I think it's like 2 o'clock in the morning in Australia, but if you're awake and you're down, please hop in, watch it. At any rate, Graham is now to the point to where he's pondering out loud whether or not that was actually Jeffrey Epstein that died in that cell, which is fan-fucking-tastic because we need more people questioning the official narrative out loud. And the official narrative includes you're allowed to have a conversation about whether or not Jeffrey Epstein was murdered or committed suicide. Or you can all say, ha, 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 we know he didn't commit suicide in that cell. As long as the conversation stays within, no matter what happened, he died in that cell. If you go outside of that and you start talking about, well, it wouldn't be the first time that an intelligence agency has faked a death to remove a body from a hostile situation. It's Jeffrey Epstein is worth a lot more to the Mossad or to the CIA alive for long enough to confirm that all of his materials are now their materials. If they can determine that, then they don't need him anymore. But they do need him for that. And they do need to make sure that he does not go to trial. You can't control all of the elements of a trial. You flat the fuck out can't. Unless you fixed every single element. And it's not that intelligence agencies aren't capable of doing that. It's that there are a lot of fucking ways that fixing a court case from start to finish can get noticed, which is why Jeffrey Epstein, when he was trying to fix court cases start to finish, that got noticed. Whitney Webb is going to come out with some new details, or her putting together a set of facts that go back for a long time. There'll probably be new revelations to people who are just now starting to become familiar with the Epstein case. But it has a lot to do with why he got his sweetheart deal. When we found out the then Secretary of Labor, Alexander Acosta, who was Florida's Attorney General, who said Epstein belonged to intelligence, who helped give him the sweetheart deal. We found out through an article in the Miami Herald that his sweetheart deal was testifying for or testifying against the people at Bear Stearns, by the people at Labor Brothers. And some of the other big hitters in the financial crash, in the financial crash of 2007, 2008, 9. Yeah, Florida State Attorney General. And I was right. I was right. Hey, Brooke, how's it going? Epstein supposedly got all of his money managing exclusively billionaires in the 1980s when there were only 13 billionaires in the country. So if his client list exceeded half of them, he had to have had foreign billionaires. There weren't too many of those either. You would have to look at like the Saudi royal family, of which Epstein was connected. My point is, having that kind of client list and having that access to the people who were at the levels to where you could manipulate the market the way the market was manipulated, the way you could manipulate and kind of move banking regulations the way that they had been shifting since the 1980s. It makes it highly plausible that Jeffrey Epstein was a cooperating, incredible witness, as it seemed to say in those 2009 documents, against some of the major financial institutions involved in the crash. So I look forward to that, to Whitney's unpacking of it, because she does a great job of it. And I like, at this point, there's absolutely nothing that could come out in relation to this that would surprise me, unless it was, for a matter of fact, yes, you really did die in that jail cell. And, that really was Ghislaine Maxwell in 2 different places in 2 days on opposite coasts, looking like 10 years younger than she did in her last picture when she hasn't been seen in public for 3 years. I totally believe that too. I do. Jamal Thomas did a video called like "Someone is Trolling Us" in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, and I agree with that, but I don't know if I agree if we think the same people are doing the trolling. I know that it seems to, there's a deep JP Morgan Chase and Jamie Dimon and Jeffrey Epstein connection. That, look, man, there's a Deutsche Bank collection. Jesus Christ. There's not a major financial institution that you can point to that doesn't have some sort of Jeffrey Epstein connection. Like I said, man, this guy was managing billionaires, or his claim at least was he only managed billionaires at a time in the U.S.'s history when there were only 13 billionaires. The odds of him not being connected to major financial institutions are smaller. Like, he was in with emerging tech companies. He wanted to seed the fucking planet with his own goddamn DNA. He wanted to basically have like a broodmare lab at the Zorro Ranch so he could fucking impregnate he wanted like up to 20 women at a time with just his DNA. Like, the dude had private quarters at Interlochen, which was a performing arts camp for high school kids, for talented high school kids. He had his own quarters there, and he personally had made a scholarship for for poorer students that met the talent requirements to get into this place. Like the what I'm trying to get at is that there really isn't a branch that remains untouched by what this guy did in terms of how you can mask philanthropy for um, running a pedophile sex trafficking ring like Jeffrey Epstein was. And again, and I can't stress this enough, Jeffrey Epstein was not the boss of his operation. He was an employee. He was the face. He was the point man, but he was not the boss of bosses by any stretch of the imagination. So anyone hoping that this story, that the reason that this is a story would go away with the removal of Jeffrey Epstein from the board, as it were, please do not think that Jeffrey Epstein was an employee. Jeffrey Epstein was not running the show. And for that matter, neither was Ghislaine Maxwell. Like there too many people are involved in this, and there's supposed to be another black book that's coming out. There's supposed to be some more court documents that are going to be released coming up. I guess that this the whole thing is about controlling and people in influential positions. When David Icke came out however many years ago and said there's a fucking satanic ring of pedophiles that are controlling the world, and then went lizard people with it. Like people owe him at least half of an apology. It has to do with Barbara Bush's vagina being oh really just a portal for lizard people. Chris Walker's in the house. That's fucking rad. What's up, man? So my my point to all that was there's been, we're about 3 decades into uh a number of people who have been pushed to the fringe and who have really just, in my own personal opinion, have been agents of disinformation, or at least fucking agents of some nature, a la Alex Jones. I don't think he's a sincere actor, but I do think that when he gets into a fucking, I just smoked 40 pounds of meth in this 3 hits, rant about how Luciferian pedophiles rule the world, and then we find out that, hey, look, Jeffrey Epstein was running one branch of this pedophile sex ring that involves members of the Saudi royal family, a bunch of presidents, a bunch of people in U.S. government institutions and intelligence organizations. Same with the state of Israel. Same with the United Kingdom. That's just what we know about, as well as Hollywood and all of these other business moguls. Like the veneer of crazy washes away a little bit at that point. I was hoping that Ed Costello would be in here because I had to take a tobacco pin to that fucking wedding thing yesterday, and so I'm going to be using it for a little bit. Yeah, so the whole like Moloch thing and the Bohemian Grove thing and all of that shit. Like I was just in Napa County yesterday, and I was saying to my wife, I'm like, there's fucking Epstein money up here, right? There's like weird shit that goes on up here, and there's all sorts of weird idol imagery just rolling around through Napa County, all like front and center and casual like out there. Um, there's some. I don't know if okay, so I'm sure that money corrupts because I've seen money corrupt people before. But I don't know if it corrupts people in the way that it corrupts you once you get to like we're going to uh you know, here's this ritual with this kid. Like what the like I don't know if that's something you have to be blackmailed into. I'm sure there's people that are like, fuck it, yeah, I'm down, you know. Uh you would have to be more specific about the very elite all men's club in Northern California. Um, I know there's a bunch. There's also like um, mock societies. So look, man, from the way that I understand it, um, the fires in Napa County burned through the exact path of the proposed high-speed rail. So I don't know into like fire isn't always the best way to cover stuff up either. And more often than not, like yeah, more often than not, sensitive material you would keep in some sort of fire safe. So you would have to get it out of a safe before you know it. I don't know. I mean, I do think that there are lots of reasons to question the wildfires. A lot of the wildfires in California, not all of them certainly, because I live in the fucking mountains and I know how this shit goes down. But um, we also know that this this particular country is engaged in geoengineering and fucking um, burning out homesteaders for as long as we could. Uh, I honestly think that that high speed rail died because they had already depleted the groundwater through so much of where they wanted to put it. Uh, Putting groundwater back into it to build up towns around where the high speed rail was going would be too long term an investment. Um, yeah, no, I did. Oh yeah, we talked about the Bohemian Grove. It's fucking yeah, I was right next door. I have friends that are on the other side of Sonoma. Um, it's not just former presidents. It's like the Grateful Dead were members of Bohemian Grove, like Bob Weir and Phil Escher, um, and that goes into a whole different conversation about you know LSD and psychedelic rock and the CIA's use of LSD 10, 15 years prior, and mind control experiments, and the fact that like all of the merry pranksters came out of that, and fucking all of these people who were involved in CIA programs or had Army, Navy intelligence officer fathers then went on to have these rock and roll bands and fucking uh, San Francisco, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, all of those areas where Bobby and Jerry were from. where they started putting the Grateful Dead together and whatnot. Gay frogs shouldn't throw you off, man, because it's not gay frogs. What happened was, and you can look this up. Um, there was a chemical that was turning frogs the opposite gender. So it wasn't turning them gay; it was turning them a different gender. I just saw a thing about it's happening to a couple of different kinds of fish too, but there's a certain sort of toxic chemical that literally changes the gender of frogs, and that's where they turning up and making these gaying up the frogs. That's where that comes from, man. That it's what why I think Alex Jones is just a complete fucking disinformation agent is because he will say something that's, but based in fact. Um, but then he'll put that fact through this, I just fucking smoked crack in a hyperbaric chamber for fucking 6 hours and got let out into the studio, and here's why the frogs are gay. Like that's the vehicle by which he disseminates a small amount of fact, and the crazy that surrounds the small amount of fact is so off-putting by anyone who's not totally given over to the fact that this is pure entertainment. Um, and it's why he got labeled so crazy before he even started going into whether or not the Sandy Hook or other mass shootings were hoaxes. But that's where that comes from, man, and that's Alex Jones's fucking superpower is the ability to legitimately convince you of just how crazy of a motherfucker he is, while uttering just enough truth for someone to go and like research it and be like, "Oh, be damned! They really are gaying up the frogs." Like, what? But they're not. Um, I did not know Tim Black was on Alex Jones's show. I will have to go look that up. Oh, I will. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not that Alex Jones is allowed or disallowed to speak so he can make conspiracy theories. But he's speaking exclusively to make conspiracy theories look crazy. Like that's his job. It's the and when they censor him, it only proves him right. When you take away his fucking Twitter account, or when you take away his YouTube, it validates everything that he's been saying. Holy fuck, they're out to get me. Everybody's been to Bohemian Grove. If you're fucking rich and you're fucking famous, you've been to Bohemian Grove. You probably fucking ate a child there. Like it's fucked up. Um, the real Rick Ross is a fucking badass, and you don't need to watch him on Alex Jones to watch him. But yeah, Freeway Rick is the real deal. And if you think I'm talking about a rapper, I'm not, man. Um, Freeway Rick Ross was the fucking crack kingpin of LA in the 80s, and he got all of his cocaine from the CIA. Yeah, I'm not saying that like cool ass people haven't gone on Alex Jones's show. Cool ass people have gone on Alex Jones's show. Cool ass people have gone on a lot of other people's shows. Cool ass people went on Alex Jones's show because they had a fucking vehicle to say whatever they wanted on a platform that was giant. And whether or not the person that they're talking to, especially if you're Abby Martin, especially if you're Immortal Technique, especially if you're fucking Chris Hedges, where you're seeing fucking agents of disinformation everywhere you go, where there have been people who have been sent to like personally threaten, target, harm, or hurt you, um, Especially if those guys, if you're those guys, you're not going to trust Alex Jones. Why Joe Rogan did? Joe Rogan smokes a lot of fucking weed and he's a comedian. When he met Alex Jones, he thought Alex Jones was a comedian too. Who wouldn't? You know, that doesn't mean that Joe Rogan's not an idiot. Joe Rogan's a fucking idiot. But he's smart too. It's a complicated fucking world. Get a helmet. Anywho, Abby Morgan, Chris Hedges, fucking Immortal Tech. Yeah, dude, go on Joe or go on Alex Jones's show. Why the fuck not, dude? Get your point out to 10 million people who are crazy enough to listen to Alex Jones in the first place. For every person that is like slamming Abby Martin because she's a leftist, there's fucking another half dozen other people that are going and walking over and learning more about how fucking Palestinians really, really do need a voice in the American media. We really do need some representation over here. My point is, you go to their platform and you get your message out on their platform. You don't let them come to yours and put their message on your platform unless that's something that you want to endorse. When I have people on, they're people that I want to have a conversation with. I'm not there to like endorse their platform 100%, but I wouldn't invite them on just to pick a fight with them. You know, and Alex Jones would do that. But he was selling sensationalism and supplements. So the tension is kind of, you know, what they wanted to do. They also wanted to make you very, 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 very afraid of Muslims at all times. But also Jews. And, well, everyone who really didn't look like Alex Jones. A lot of hate going on there. So do you want some hair? You know what, dude? Hotep Jesus is running around selling fucking hair care products now, or fucking hair growth products. If you're a right winger or you espouse an authoritarian right wing ideology, at some point your show will sell the secret to hair regrowth, like, or natural boner pills. Like, that's just what you do. Would I? No, I would not have Ben Shapiro on this. I would not bring him here to put his platform out. I would go to his platform, but I would not bring him to mine. No. Look, dude, there's only one of two things that would happen. First of all, Ben Shapiro would never entertain any of this anyway. Like, he needs his safe space. And he made that perfectly clear when he went on the BBC and he shit fucking out of the back of his diaper when a 475-year-old Tory like asked him a very simple question. So there's no, but immediately after that, Ben Shapiro went right back to his fucking little safe space, and he doesn't do anybody's show that he won't be 100% able to get away with his own high-pitched, sped-up rambling, uninterrupted, unchecked, unquestioned. That's a fucking that's someone who's never going to have an honest conversation with anybody. So, yeah, fuck that guy. Straight up. Your neighbor told you that Jesus wanted the Jews to die in the Holocaust. Jesus did. the king of the Jews wanted the Jews to as what, like ultimate payback? Like I died for your sins, but you forgot to check the fine print. Like there was going to be some comeuppance at a time of my choosing. Um, that's wild. What blows me away about Ben Shapiro's audience is that like 95% of Ben Shapiro's audience would fucking shove Ben Shapiro in a locker if they were in high school together. Automatically. There's no way that Ben, well, you can tell by the guy's show Ben Shapiro didn't make it through high school unscarred, you know. Um, You know what? It is 8:45. I have a show to do in 15 minutes, so I am gonna wrap it up. Um, it is the first day of school for my kids tomorrow, so hopefully right after all of those uh, little hellions get dropped off at their mandatory state indoctrination centers, um, I will be able to do an early morning live stream, or early morning for me, probably, but or California, probably about 9 o'clock. Um, and yeah, until then, this has been Slow News Day. I'm Steve Boykinen. Good luck to us all.